Okay guys, today I'm going to go over changing the strings on this guitar. Now I'm going to take, these are old strings, they sound old, they don't feel good, it's hard to tune them. I'm going to show you the tools that I have. We're going to change the strings right now. First I'm going to go with the Martin Acoustic SP. I also use the Martin Marquise, but basically I'm going with the 12 to 54. 12 to 54. That's about the standard gauge that I use, 12 to 54. Some people like 13s, I personally hate them, and maybe 11s, but this is a light. This is a light gauge. So for all beginners, I wouldn't go any higher than this 12. And actually, on the pack you can see .12 to .54, and that's what I call the strings. I call this a pack of 12s. You can really get them different, 12 to 56, and you can do like on my electric, I use 10 to 54, I think. So I like a heavy bottom. So, but this is basically a phosphor bronze .012. So I call them a 12 to 54, and this is the good set for my little guitar. I only have a few tools. One is a string winder. And if you've ever tried to change strings without a string winder, you're probably upset about that. And then I use some basic wire cutters, nippers, and my favorite tuner is the Korg GT3 at this point. It's just really a good tuner for the studio. So this is my guitar. This is my Samick LF006 from Indonesia. And here's what I like to do in the beginning. We're going to go through the whole thing. It's only going to take a few minutes. But I like to detune my strings. Okay. Now some people will detune one at a time, take one off, restring, take one off, restring, but I'm going to show you how to do it super fast. Okay, so I actually take them all off at once. So go ahead and put in the comments, say only nice things, because I know some of you are going to yell at me and say that, oh, you're going to break the guitar if you de-string the whole thing, and then you, so I know that's fine. This is my basic guitar, and it's never, I've done this my whole life, it's never hurt anything. So I just take the clippers, snip them off. Okay, snip them off real fast. And I'm going to show you a couple tricks on how I wind and things like that. I don't tie, do anything, but these wire cutters are dinky. Okay, so once you get them all off, you got them all right there. You can actually just take this. I just wind them off real quick. Wind that one off. Wind that one off. So taking all 6 strings off. You can actually take some time to dust your guitar at this point. And I just wind them off, pull them off, dust the guitar. I didn't bring a duster rag, but I'll just use my fingers to dust this off. Dust under the strings. There's that drummer again. That drummer that plays in our studio. Now this string winder has a little thing on it right here, like a little, you can see in the writing, see that little hole? That's actually made for, and you got to be kind of careful, but that's made for popping off those little round things, because these are stuck in there. It's really hard to get those out of there. So a couple tricks to get them out. If you stick your hand, this guitar is too small, but bigger guitars, you can stick your hand under there and push from the bottom. Sometimes even put like a pick or a penny on my finger because it gets so hard. But actually these make it super easy. You just take it in there, you stick it in there, and you just pull up. So you stick this on there, and you kind of got to cram it in there and then pull up. Okay, so you just pop these all off, all 6 of these, stick them on there. And actually this string winder is not as good as my red one. So if you're having a hard time, you can actually use needle nose or some pliers. I use my wire cutters here. This could mar your guitar, but if you're real careful, you can just put right underneath the ball, and you can sort of just pull up just a little bit. I'm just putting my wire cutters right on the end of the ball, okay? And I just kind of just barely push up on it just to get those balls out of there. And you throw those out. You can, if you have a super nice guitar, you got to be careful, because you know, I'm not super afraid to put a nick in my guitar or afraid to put a little scratch somewhere. On my nicer guitars, you still can use your pliers if you just grab the end of the ball and kind of pull up a little bit, but your string winder's the best. So now you got all 6 strings off. You can dust the guitar. I'm going to turn this thing down just a tad so you can see what I'm doing. So now I'm going to show you how to quickly set up to do the restringing, and it's very easy. So you pop open the strings, and now a lot of strings come in packs where they're like color coded. I don't think these are color coded. So what they are though, here's the trick. So there's two strings in this pack, first E and fourth D. So there's a first string and a fourth string. So you can't mix them up. You can't. That's one's really high, like the high E, and then one's wound. So what you got to do, if you have a pack like this, there's 6 strings, but there's only 3 packages. So the other package has third G and fourth E. Those are pretty, or third G and sixth E. So it's not real hard to mix those up because one's really high and one's really low. So what I do is I pull them out like this: 5th A and 2nd B. So you pull them out, and that's what this is: 5th A and 2nd B. So you got the B string here, and the 5th A. Let's say 5th A. So I stick them in the hole, B and A. Right, so this is the fastest way to do it. You stick them in there, and then let them hang off the back. Okay. So the 5th, and then you got G and E. So you got your 3rd and your 6th. You pull that out. 3rd and your 6th. So you got your 3rd here. It's a little tiny, and your 6th. So you go 1, 2, 3rd, and then 6th. Okay. And then your 1st and your 4th. You got your 1st and your 4th. So you got your 1st and your 4th string. So you put them in the hole first, and then you put the 4th in. So you got all your strings in there, all 6 of them in there where they're supposed to go. You're not going to worry about that anymore. Then you're going to find your 6 little things, and I'm going to move the camera up so we can get a little bit closer on this now, because I'm going to start showing you some of my cool tricks. Okay, here's some cool tricks. You want some cool tricks? When you're doing this, you actually have to put the little pin in there. So what you're going to do is, I chase the pin in. What I do is I put the pin right at the end of the ball, okay, and then I push it in. If you just stick this string down in there and then put the ball in there, you've left a bunch of lines. So what I do is I kind of put the ball in there, I put my pin on top, and I push the ball and the pin in together, so I know that the ball of the string is right at the tip of the pin. So you want that ball right at the tip of the pin. If you get it in there like this, sometimes later it'll pop up. So you just put all, and there's also a little groove in the pin. You gotta have the groove facing the string. It's kind of self-explanatory if once you know what it is, but there's a little groove in this pin. That groove has to be matching the ball. I'll try to show you one. And so this little this little pin has a little groove, and you want the groove to be facing the string so that the string sits in the groove. But you don't even have to think about that. You just want to make sure that the groove is facing the string. You're not going to try to get the string in the groove. You got what I mean? So as long as you didn't lose any of your little pieces when you took them off. I may have lost one of my pins, and it always happens. So I push it in, kind of hard, kind of push it in there, okay? And then you've got your 5. You're supposed to have six pins. I only have 5 at this point. So in my little video, I lost a pin. Oh, it's on the floor. That's always good. It's on the floor. So you got your last one. You stick it in there. It's pretty self-explanatory. Now you have 6. So now I have 6 strings coming out of the guitar, and I leave them hanging over the back. Now, this is where we're going to start our first wind, and I'm going to scoot over this way. So what I do, hopefully your pins hold tight enough down here to where they're not going to start popping out and stuff. Now, I have had in the past guitars that do not want to stay in here. You push them down, you go to wind them, they pop out. So what I do there, I'm not going to do that today, but I'm going to try to show you what I would do. What I do is I have my shoes off. See, those are my socks. I have my shoes off, and I put the guitar down on the floor, and I put my heel right on there. This is if you want to, this is my little method. I put my heel on the ball. I put my heel right on the ball. I put my foot on my guitar. Look at that. So you put your, like on your E string, you want to put your E string in, stick your foot on there, and you hold it down, okay? That's what I stick my foot on there, and then I come up here and I wind. So I'm kind of holding the guitar in between my legs like that, and I'm winding, and then you turn it over this way, I use my other foot, hold those balls down, because it's really annoying when you get halfway down, and then those little balls pop out, and it messes everything up. They've got to stay in there. if you guys have another method, let me know. Of course, I've been doing this most of my life now, so I'm probably not going to change, but I'd be interested to see how you guys get those. You could have your friend just hold that. Say, hold that down, and they could put their thumb on that little ball, and then you could do your little thing, okay? So that's what I do, but then, so let's talk about the winding. And this is where the trick happens. And this is kind of, I think, where probably beginners, people who haven't done their strings probably mess up because they get like really, this is the hard part, okay? So you got your string. Let's assume that the ball is sticking in there, that the ball is not going to flying out on you, okay? And then we're going to teach you how to wind it, and here's how I do it. I use my string winder for a gauge at the 7th fret, okay? So I put my string in the hole, just like this, my first string. I just, wherever you want to start. I pull it in. Now, here's kind of the nuance of how I get this to work. I keep the angle of the hole kind of like this, so that when I pull on the string, it actually puts kind of a kink in the string when I pull on it. So this is the hardest part. You can get this part down, you're good. So you don't want this, you want this thing to be like the string is coming up this plane here. You want the hole to be sort of going that way, so it creates like an angle, a back angle. So when I pull on this, it crinks it. So I can show you just like this. So when I get it to the right length, and then I'm going to pull on it. It's kind of hard to show you on YouTube. This is. I get it like this, and I get to where I can pull on the string, and it's not going to come out. So the hole is like going this way, and the string is going this way. Okay. So you got kind of a thing. If you don't do that, here I'll show you what happens if you don't do that. To start the string, if you get it in there like this, and you get it in there, and then you start to pull on it, it just comes out. So you want to get a thing, and maybe I'll put a little chart on my website and a link in the description. A couple of these little things. I think that would help you. So I get the knob set to the right position, so it's sort of like angled that way. It's actually angled up towards the K on my guitar. And then I take my string winder around the 7th fret, and I about measure about this much. Okay, that's how much string I'm going to do, and then that's about it. But on this low string, I do a little bit less than that. So it's probably about the handle of my string winder. What is that? And you could use like, it's about 4 fingers underneath. You know, you want that much slack. Some people measure 4 fingers down here at the end or whatever, but I just kind of eyeball it about the 7th fret. You want about 3 or 4 fingers, 3 or 4 fingers, depending on how big your hand is, and you'll get the hang of this. It's your own thing. You'll get the hang of it. So then what I do, I'm going to show you my little hand trick. I think I'm going to turn this way so you can see. So you're kind of looking over my shoulder. So I hold a little hand trick like this. So what I do is I put my 2nd finger underneath the string and create some tension. So you got to have tension on the pen, and you got to have tension back here on the ball. So you got this like this, and then I take my 1st finger and I push down towards the nut. So you kind of have pressure up here. You're kind of like that, and then you put your finger down like this. Okay, so now you can actually, you know, you have about 3 or 4 fingers at the 7th fret. You put your finger here, here, push down, because you want this to be sort of down by the peg. You want this part. Then I take this, pull it up like that. So I create a kink right here, and I create a kink here because I'm pulling on this and I'm pulling on this. So now I got tension on the string, and now I'm going to take my string winder, and I'm going to stick it on here and just wind it up. I want the wind to go down the pen. I don't want it to overlap or go up. I want the wind to go down, okay? So I'm gonna do this like 6 times. This video is gonna be longer. So now you can see I've got 3 winds on my string. 3 winds, okay? 3 winds. 3 nice little winds on my string. And that's like about 3. So I noticed that was pretty good. When I get down to the ones without any winding, I'll show you what I do with those. Those are a little bit harder. Then I take my clipper, like my little clippers, no big deal, and I just clip it off. Be careful, I'll clip the string, and I've got this, and I throw it on the floor, okay? You kind of pull it up, okay? Now, I'm gonna do the same thing, and I'll let you watch me do the whole thing really quickly. I'm gonna show you how fast I do it. It'll be very quick. So I just take the same thing. I take this string, and I put it in the hole. Put it in the hole up here, and I get it, pull it down, and then I take the hole and I orient the hole to where it's heading up towards the K on my Samick, and then I kind of go to get about 7th, go to the 7th fret, get a little bit of tension thing. I put my finger down, put there, and then I wind it up. I wind it up maybe like a half wind, and then I pull on this, the tail. I pull the tail up, and then I hold the guitar with my other elbow, sort of just yank on it, sort of just pull this down. This is good. This guitar needed strings. So, you know, I got that. I'm gonna yank, cut this off. Okay? I wonder how many of you will watch this video. I'm not sure. How many of you have already shut it off and said, I'm not allowed to do that, no way. So I stick my string in there, I pull it, same thing. And I'm giving about the whole string winder now. You have to turn this peg that way, just a tad, so it gets like a little kink, so you can put a kink in it. Then you pull on it, then you pull up on the tail, and you wind. Okay? You see how my finger's pushing down? That's so the winding goes down the peg. It doesn't go up the peg. You want the winding to go down the peg, okay? If you don't do any of this perfectly, then you're gonna have a winding that's going above itself, and you're gonna have too much winding or not enough. If you don't put enough winding on it, the strings can pop off. So now you gotta reverse it, okay? Now you gotta reverse it and do that sort of same thing, only other hand. Because on the guitar, at least on the acoustic, you've got this side. So basically, for this one, I'm going to back way up so you can see far version of me doing this. So basically, I've got my peg there. I've got about let's see, I've got about a string winder, and this is still a wound string. And then I put my hand down there. I start winding it the right way. I pull up on the tail of the string, and then I keep winding. I'll wind all the way down. You can move this hand up if you want to push down even more. Sometimes I put my elbow on the guitar to kind of hold it tight, and it's not really taking me very long at all. And then I'm going to whip through this. I just go take this next string. I don't really tune it the first time. This one I give more like a string winder and another inch or so, because I like more windings on my high strings. So I get it in the right position, then as soon as it's starting to kink up there, I push down, pull the tail up, and then I just go like this. I want more windings down here. Yeah, I've had too many times when I only put 2.5 or so windings on this pin on the high strings, and you know, it was frustrating because the string will just slide off, depending on probably what brand of strings or what guitar you have. And then the last string we're going to put on, and then I'll show you how I do it first tuning. It's pretty cool, it's pretty quick. So I got this one, and this one I usually give a string winder in an inch. I get it positioned right in the right position. I kind of kink it, pull up on the tail. So I put 2 bends in the string immediately. But after you do that, you don't want to screw it up, and you don't want to mess up after that, because then you'll have like bends in the string, and it's hard to get them started again. Hard to get everything going back again, so you just wind this up. And there's quite a few more windings on this high E, but that's just because, like I said, I must be paranoid from when I was younger. I would always break the strings, or have the strings slip off. So basically, when you're cutting these, you just get as close as you can to the string, and you just cut it off without cutting the string. Don't cut the string off. I hope I don't do that on my video. Cut those off. Now you have 6 perfectly wound strings and a guitar that's completely out of tune. See, some of these windings here are more than 3, and that's okay. I like on the 2 last strings I got like 4 or 5 windings. If you look at all the wound strings, I've only got 3, perfectly good windings, and the tail is pointing up because remember I pulled it up. I pulled the tail up. Okay, so now we're going to tune the guitar just the way we would, and that's pretty much what I want to do is tune the guitar. So I got a tuner. That's why I have a tuner. A lot of times, if this guitar is brand new tuned, I have a piano right over here, so it's really easy to just go over to the piano and hear where the A is. So that's A, and I tune by ear, so I just go. And I pull a little sharp this first time. You can do this method. Now I'm pulling it sharp on purpose, and then I also push down again on these balls to make sure they're all down. That's way off. So you just kind of... Then I do the E from the E. Now that one might be... See, it's like... So now, I go back to my piano. I just like having the piano here. It kind of fell down already. Now the guitar's really close now, so what I do is I actually take the strings and I pull on them like this. Okay, I stretch them out. So once I do this one time, I tune it up one time, then I yank them like this. So I'm pulling on them. Okay, I pull on them pretty good hard. Now sometimes I pull on them up here too, because this is going to pull it all out of, this is really stretching it in. About 3 tunings and you'll have this thing in tune. So then, it went completely out of tune because I pulled the strings up. So, went that far out of tune. Now I'm just rough tuning this time, and then I'm going to pull again. So I know I got to back up to pitch. This is tensioning the strings. It's really not tuning it, more than tensioning. There's tension and there's tuning. That's one thing I learned in my piano training that really has helped me. But I kind of already knew it, but thinking about it like that, you're tensioning the strings. You're getting them up to tension. See how low that went? Just, you got to do this part. You have to do this part. It's very important. Stretch and pull 3 or 4 times. Then go to your tuner and start getting a fine tuning. Now it's starting to hold up. Now I'm looking at a tuner. Before I was doing all by ear, just off one note of the piano. Now I got it pretty good, and it's not perfect, but it sounds pretty decent, so I'm going to stretch it one more time. And then sometimes, like if I'm prepping for a video or something, I will, strum really hard. It sounds very jangly. It's a jangly set of strings. It takes about a day or two for me, to sound good. I mean, they'll sound okay now. They'll tune better. Now I've stretched them out pretty good. But new strings to me sound jangly and bright. So you want to let them play in a little bit. Now they're pretty much holding tune. So do you have any questions about this? Let me know. Okay, this is actually pretty good now. I'm using my tuner on the stand, okay? Just trying to get the tuner down. Okay, and then we got E. Now I'll probably have to tune this by ear a little bit too. I'll play around, do some bends, whatever I have to do. Now it's going to start sounding in tune. Now, there you go. It's been, this whole video has taken about, 24 minutes. Had I not been instructing, I can do that in about 4 minutes. Cut all the strings off, stick them all in from the new pack, flip it over on my lap, use the string winder, wind them up, and then three or four pulls of stretching the strings out, and then you got your guitar strung in about 5 minutes when you get fast. So a couple of things that you got to do to make sure. I'll probably put them in a document. I'll put them on my website, worshiptheking.com, and if I do that, I'll have a link in the description of the video. But if you want to join me, be sure to join me at worshiptheking.com on my Facebook group. I have my Worship the King Facebook group, and you can learn all about worship guitar. I teach mostly worship guitar, so if you don't, if you're just checking out this YouTube video and you haven't played worship guitar, check it out, and then leave me a comment below. But don't leave mean comments, because I won't even read them. So I won't read the mean ones. I'll just leave them there. If you got another method that you think is awesome, that's fine. Make a YouTube video and show me. All right, see you guys.